This is a video that I have done in the past. It's kind of long. I'm going to split it up into two parts because I know some people, not my subscribers, but new people, have the attention span of a short commercial. So, a lot of information in here. You need to check it out.
So. Oh my goodness, oh my damn, oh my goodness, they're going ham. Oh my goodness, oh my damn, oh my goodness, they're going ham. Damn, 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 let's do this. Damn, damn, damn. I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright, the same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come, and I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won. Chop, 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 flip, chop, 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 flip, chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
North American accounts of the giant skeletons that were found in the Ohio and Pennsylvania Valley. I'm talking everything from 10 to 12-foot tall guys found in copper armor. And the more I investigated, I found out it was a worldwide situation where we're talking some really big skeletons, all the way up to 36 feet tall.
If we only had basketball then, huh?
Well, I can tell you this, when some of these guys, some of the British giants, for instance, one guy specifically, listen to this, a guy by the name of William Joyce in the late 1800s, he could lift a ton dead weight, in other words, 2,000 pounds. And that you're only talking about a guy that was 8 feet tall. So I think the situation that most people find in history is there are too many question marks. And when you're looking at the temples of the world, and you're looking at all of the, what would you say, the answers that are out there, but seemingly are, swept under the rug, I think it becomes apparent that for some reason, someone doesn't want the issue of giants brought up.
How tall do you think the little guy is in the middle on your cover of your book, Genesis 6?
According to they claim he's right at 6 feet. When I got that from a group of people in London that have the only photos of these guys around. Also in the book, I have a picture of a 12'2" Irish mummy. And it's fascinating because, later in the show we can get into the mummy issue, but the point that's fascinating is if you take guys that are all the way up to 36 feet tall, 20 feet tall, the Emperor of China had two 15-foot guards. Charlemagne himself was surrounded by rather large individuals. We have a Roman emperor named Maximinius who was a giant himself. His wife's bracelet, George, would fit around his thumb. We're talking about people that are, we're talking about people with big egos, big appetites, and incredible strength. We're not talking about the medical situation that you see sometimes on the History Channel where they show giants as being these guys that don't live very long, obviously like Andre the Giant, who was a wrestler. Right. We're talking about guys with unbelievable strength, unbelievable knowledge, and unbelievable wisdom. On the website, I even show some of the Incan kings, I-N-C-A-N, Inca, from the Inca Empire, basically in the museums of Peru, that have 4 to 5 times the cranial mass of a standard human skull. So we're not only talking about big guys, we're talking about people with incredible intelligence, and we're talking about an answer that obviously classical anthropology and archaeology, these guys don't want to deal with this. I think it was David Hatcher Childress that coined the word Smithsonian Gate. In other words, a cover-up of history that's rather pronounced. And when you begin to dig, as I began digging over 30 years ago, you can find out that the reports of newspapers in America, of newspapers around the world, interestingly enough, after I did the last show with Art, somebody went on the website and they sent me from Eastern Europe, they've already sponsored I guess you'd say an undertaking to go into some of the caves where they found a whole, basically, cavern of giant skeletons. And in the New Ancient American, which is a magazine that's put out in America, they found the most contemporary find. It's someplace in desert Southwest, and it actually shows the pictures of the giants, shows the cave, etc. So basically, interestingly enough, too, is that when you look at this, you see that there is a very, very, how should I say, skittish archaeological base out there that doesn't even want to deal with this.
Do you want to see how they keep everyone in the dark with this whole Smithsonian Nephilim giant human skeleton topic? Well, let me show you how they do it. And this article is a perfect example on this website, World News Daily Report. Now, this article is actually fake and is talking about fake things intentionally to throw people off. Obviously, they're hoping truthers will latch onto this article and make videos. And there's actually people that have done it and actually made massive videos. Like this guy here, 147,000 subscribers. Of course, he doesn't know what's really, going on here. But let me just show you kind of what they're doing. Okay. If you check at the bottom of this article, way at the bottom, you'll see two things that really give it away. You see, nobody's buying, and even worse, far worse, is right at the bottom of the page entirely. New World Order Media. Okay, now this website is a Zionist website created by some people in Israel claiming to be Christians, Muslims, and Jews working together in this website. Alleged news source, but actually, if you look at their About Us page, they even say that this is for entertainment purposes only. American Jewish Zionist newspaper. We're based in Tel Aviv, 1988. And let's see here. Yeah, here we go, down here. World News Daily Report assumes all responsibility for the satirical nature of this article, for the fictional nature of its content. All characters appearing in these articles on this website, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. Any resemblance between them and any person, living or dead, is purely a miracle. So this is clearly a mock towards truthers. This whole entire website is a mock. They're expecting you to pick up on their articles. They're expecting you to, just eat this up and then go report it and then it discredits you. That's kind of the idea of what they're doing here. And of course, they work off directly off Snopes. Snopes literally uses these websites all the time. They just literally pick up articles off these websites they know are satirical, fictional, which is intentional. They're literally trying to mislead people. And Snopes basically just uses these articles to debunk, when it doesn't even take a rocket scientist to debunk it, because it tells you it's fake. On their About Us page, it tells you they're New World Order media at the bottom of their page, and they tell you that it's fictional in nature. So they tell you up front, this is all fake. So is Snopes really doing anything for us? No, other than COINTELPRO. They're actually part of it. So they're doing it on purpose to discredit truthers, to discredit anybody trying to seek the truth on topics like this. Now, of course, it actually is true. The Smithsonian have destroyed thousands of giant human skeletons. This is the whole point. They take something that's actual truth, they have someone falsely report it, making up fictional information, then these guys debunk it, all to basically throw everybody off and say, oh, it's just a bunch of bull crap. In reality, they never did this. That's the entire point of this whole thing. So this is very interesting. I wanted to point this out to you guys so you could see kind of how they work. It's really kind of retarded, but everybody falls for this stuff. Obviously, those who follow secular archaeology think, oh, look, see, this proves it. This debunks it, that it's all bullcrap. See, look, Snopes already debunked it. So that's the whole point of why they do this. I went through this video, and some of the things that were very interesting were when he was reading historical accounts from various people in the 1600s. They went to Peru, when they conquered the Incas. Okay, when the conquistadors went in and conquered the Incas, the Inca, dynasty, whatever you want to call it. They went in, obviously they conquered them with the sword and also with disease, because they brought diseases that killed them off. But what's interesting is if you look into their writings from various, Jesuit, Dominican clerics and Jesuit monks, and just Augustinian monks, and they were not just monks. Some of these people were also just scientists that were, commissioned by the church as well, and historians that were commissioned by the church. And there's several writings they cite in this movie, where it clearly indicates that there were giants. And here's the interesting part. Here is the interesting part about all this. The history books that you read when you were in high school, when you were in middle school, were written by historians who read from these historical works, various historical works, and they just picked and chose what they wanted to present. So they read something like this here. Reginaldo, I don't know how to pronounce this, Dominican cleric and chronicler, a brief description of the land of Peru, 1595. Here we go. There were once giants here, and natives say they don't know from hence they came. Their houses were 3 leagues below the anchorage, made of 2 gables with very large beams. Now, actually what they're showing in the scene here was quoted, I think, a little bit later on, but what they were is actually 30-foot tall giants that were basically rotting, that they found in around the 1600s when they conquered the Incas. Rotting corpses of giants that were 30 foot tall that they ended up burning and incinerating, just destroying them, because they were used as idol worship in a cave. So this is in a cave, the setting is a cave, and they were doing human sacrifice unto these dead gods. Obviously not gods, but they considered them gods. 30-foot tall giants, hundreds of human bodies sacrificed to them. Okay, this is what they encountered in a certain village in Peru. So some crazy stuff, obviously. Right? But I'm not going to play this video, obviously, because I'm just trying to give you a little bit of review of this video, just show you a couple little stills from the video, and encourage you to go buy it because it's really spectacular. I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's really nice. It's only $9.95. And actually, you can rent it for $4.95. You can pay $5 and watch this whole thing. But I paid so I could have it basically, like it says here, you own this or whatever you want to call it. But which means I can just play it whenever I want to. Added to this are known traditions that all these giants, whose bones are still seen until this day in this beautiful place, died in the flames because of young, handsome men. These Indians did not know how to... Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you about the scene. I'm not going to tell you everything, obviously. I'm just going to tell you a few things from this video. This is really spectacular. This is just so spectacular. Okay, this is from an Augustinian monk, anthropologist. He wrote it in the Moral Chronicle of the Order of St. Augustine of Peru, 1663. Okay, so what this guy is doing is he's retelling what these... do they call them Peruvians? These people who lived in Peru, I guess they were part of the Incas or whatever, however you want to call them, Incas, Peruvians, I don't know what you call it, Indians. Okay, we'll just call them Indians here. These Indians from that region have a story that was passed down to them about giants. Some of the antediluvian giants, from what I understand, that came to the land and basically took over. They're about 15 foot tall. They took over and they were killing off some of the people and basically controlling the land. They had basically control of the land, sort of like overlords, I guess you would say. And what they would do is these giants that came, some of them were naked, some of them weren't. Okay, they came in these reed formed ships. They somehow made ships out of reed. And when they came over, they had no women. It was just all male Nephilim giant offspring. And what they would do is they would steal the women from the Indians and basically rape them and try to impregnate them, and actually would kill them in the process often. From what I understand, it basically they mostly all died because you're talking about a 15-foot giant raping a 5-foot tall woman. Obviously, it's not going to work out in any way, shape, or form. It's just crazy. So these evil beings, what they ended up doing is they would have gay sex out in the open and do other crazy stuff, obviously. And they were very evil. They were killing all these women. They were also fighting the people of the land and doing other types of abominable acts. But what ended up happening, and this is what's being said here, a young, handsome man in the sky took out a sword and threw a lightning bolt down on these giant Nephilim offspring and killed them, incinerated them. So what we're talking about here is likely an angel of God. You know, usually angels of God are considered to be very handsome looking men, you know, with a sword, basically threw a lightning bolt at them and destroyed them all. And this is the story. And this is not from the Bible. This isn't from the Book of Enoch or Book of Jubilees. This is a story from Indians in Peru. It sounds exactly like something. It sounds kind of like a mix between Sodom and Gomorrah's judgment and, sort of like what you see in the Book of Enoch. It's just, it sounds like it really correlates. And all these myths, as they call them myths, correlate so well with these stories, these ancient stories from the Book of Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees, which also mysteriously were buried. So we have the Catholic Church, Rome, the Vatican, burying the Book of Enoch, which was rediscovered in Africa in, I think, 1780s or so. We have the Book of Jasher and Jubilees, which also was, essentially kicked out as being pseudebiographical, or basically erroneous, falsely ascribed texts. You know, these books are critical to understanding Genesis 6, right? But the church got rid of these books. The church, we're talking Rome here, gets rid of all these giant skeleton bones. This church, right? Who are they really serving? And now they're talking about some aliens coming to be a part of society, and that aliens could get saved. We know that this Vatican is working with the Nephilim. It sounds to me that's what they're doing behind the scenes. It's pretty obvious to me.